back, folks, to Random Brad Shop. Today we're going to see if we can finish up the welds on the brackets on the back of this frame in preparation for putting the bed back on. We're not going to get the bed back on today. Let me show you. So I got the driver's side patched, you know, like we did last week on the passenger side. The problem on this is had to take the pedal and drop the steering column, take the dash out, and while I was taking the dash out, what do you guys think about that? That's a square body dash. I think that's the 81 to 87, but don't look too bad. I think the issue, you know, with doing something like this is the depth behind the gauges. That's about 6 inches. On a stock square body, that's about 9.5. So I think that dash needs to go back a little further. But there's you know, the steering column supports are back there. So I think that would mean we'd have to redesign the column supports and the pedal supports, because the factory dash needs, give or take, about 4 inches. And right now, to that support, we got about 4 inches there. So as it sets right now, there is just enough room to put, and you know, marginally enough room to put the gauge cluster in. But that's only about 6 inches. And on a stock square body, that dash is about 9.5 inches. So I don't know, but we're pondering it. Let me get the other side and show you what it looks like from the other side. The squareness of this kind of matches the squareness of this old International. So I'm not entirely opposed to this. Just unclear at this point how that's all going to fit in there. All right, leave a comment below. What do you guys think about this? You know, anything's doable with enough effort, but I don't know. All right, back to today's schedule. These rear bed mounts, when I welded them in, you know, I welded them from the bottom, so they're triangulated on the bottom, but the bed was on it, and so they need to be welded on the top up here. Same thing goes for the shock mounts. All of the welding was done on the bottom, and obviously we need to do some cleanup here. Cut the top, you know, grind cut the dingleberries off and fill up a gap and do some more welding, kind of clean that up. Got to keep in mind that you got to be able to get a wrench in there, so you can't, I don't think it would be a good idea to close this, you know, to come all the way across. May have a really hard time getting that bolt out of there to take shocks off. So I'm going to leave it open. I'm going to leave that side open too. I'm just going to clean that up. Same thing on this side. Just cut the old mount off, the pieces of it, and fill up the gap here, and basically leave that like that. That way, at least I got a chance of getting a wrench in there. And then last, I like to do something about these square boxes. So what I think is I'm going to round the corner, and then I'm going to come back at an angle this way. So that's what we got planned today. I think let's get after it. All right, this looks like the easiest part. Let's get this going first. so bad. I think I'm gonna use a saw to see if I can clean up the top of the shock towers. Let's do some grinding. All right, folks. You've probably noticed I'm doing the easy ones first. I need to find a little piece of steel to fill up the gap. Then we'll weld this up solid and go ahead and finish welding in here where we didn't weld when we were putting them in. Same thing on this side. Need to fill up the gap and get that all welded up. Put a good bead across the top and go ahead and clean that weld up right there. Need to cut it off. Alright, that should work. If I can get it tacked in there where that'll stay, that'll work. Need to let the welder cool off. I'm gonna have to get back to you folks. That's the downside of having a small welder. You gotta let it cool off. So let me let this thing cool off a little more. I'll get back. Okay folks, here's my plan here. I've got some pipe. You know, I think these were handrails out of some plant. I don't know. Bought them at an auction like 40 years ago. So what I'm thinking is take this piece of pipe that's 2-inch, you know, and that's what this square box tubing is. And basically round the corners on it, make it look a little better. And this thickness right here will actually strengthen up this top mounting surface. So round this corner off, you know, something like that, and weld that, you know, on the bottom side of that plate, and then come down here and something like that. That'll give easy access to the cab bolt, and it'll strengthen this top plate up. If that don't make sense, let me cut it out. It'll make sense when I cut it out. might be fun to cut out. Let me get the grinder. I think I'm gonna cut the one underneath there first, because that's probably the hardest one. Not a lot of room. I wonder if I could cut that with a sawzall. I don't know. Let's try it with a grinder. Well, I think a little bit of grinding, that is going to work out all right. I'm happy about that. Let me get that cleaned up and we'll tack this thing on here. Let me get the welder turned on. All right, let me weld it up. This makes me happy. I think that'll work. Let me get the camera down, see what you think. Well, that looks better than that, doesn't it? Oh, I think so. Let's get the other one cut. And there's number 2. Well, I think that looks a whole lot better. Does to me anyway. Okay. Well, that's all we're going to get on this. However, if you guys still hanging around, next couple of weeks we're going to do sort of the C10 shuffle. I think next weekend we're going to start. My youngest one has a 3/4 ton that's got a 350 in it, and I've got a 68 Impala that's got a 454 in it that I rebuilt a long time ago. But it doesn't have, I may have 500,000 miles on it. So we're going to put the 454 in the flatbed, that 3/4 ton flatbed that he's got. Along with that, we've got a 1 ton that was a project that we put all new upper lower control arms, tie rods. The whole front end is brand new on this. So we're going to take that new front end and put it under his 3/4 ton flatbed. I'm getting there. When we pull the 350 out of his 3/4 ton, we're going to set that in the 63, because the 63, I've already had it set up for a small block. So we'll put the 350 in the 63 pickup, and the 1 ton that we were working on has a turbo 400 in it. So we'll put that turbo 400 and that 350 in the 63. And we've been working on this short wide bed 4x4. I told you that red cab and front end, that was my dad's pickup. It was a 1/2 ton. So we're going to take and it's a 1980, so we're going to take the front suspension and rear end out of the 1980, and we're going to put it in the 63. So the 1 ton flatbed of my young son's is going to get the 454 and a new front suspension. The 63, we need a place to put the motor, and so I thought we might as well put that in that 63. And things snowball. If we're going to pull a 63 up and put the motor in, it'd be a lot easier to swap the front suspension. So the 63 is going to get a 1980 front suspension. I may or may not get the rear end done because I still want to set up a jig to make some trailing arms. I need new trailing arms for my 71. Gonna need trailing arms for the 67. Gonna put, the 63's got trailing arms. And the 57 that we put the Explorer frame under, remember we put a trailing arm rear suspension. So I need to get set up so I make, at least 4 sets of those trailing arms. So I don't know if we'll get the rear end put in it, but we'll get the 350 put in the 63, we'll get the Turbo 400 put in the 63, and we'll get the front suspension out of the 1980 into the 63. I hope that made sense to you. It makes sense in my brain, but I don't know if it came out that way. Anyway, I don't know if we're going to start next weekend. It basically depends on, the weather and when he's got time available, but at this point, I'm thinking we're going to start next weekend. Probably the first step is to bring that 80, my dad's 80 pickup up and get the front end out of it, drag the 63 over and get the front end in it. At the same time, he's pulling the 350 loose in his 3/4 ton. Hopefully, I can have that front suspension put in. It's about the same time he gets that, the motor out, so we can just set that motor down inside there. That would be the plan anyway. You know how the best laid plans of mice and men go, right? All right. Well, it was a busy weekend. I know this was a short video on the International. Tell me what you think about the C10 dash in there. I mean, in the end, we can make that work. I'm still on the fence on it, though. Let me know. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I think we're up to 970, so we're almost at that magic 1,000 number. Hit the like bell, you know, make a comment, and until next time, Random Rod Shop is out of here.